Shalom, when the self souls by giving no praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahshua, Ba'Shem Kodash, double honors the apostle of great most, and honors you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and in sincerity. Yahweh's raw name, of whom the world English calls God, Jehovah, or Yahweh. His raw name is Yahweh. The Son's true name is Yahweh Shai, and when we pray Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahshua, Ba meaning in, Ha meaning the, and Sham meaning names, Yahweh, the name of Yahweh Shai. It's a quick one, inspired by actually, true events. I just, bro was like, why didn't you do a video on that? Because it was which was a line manager that I had. He was just a demon, man. He was a Mo, what you call it, and everything. I mean, he was a Jake, white, so-called white Jake or whatever, what have you. Right, it was a Mo and all of that good stuff, and this guy's just always been a thorn. Well, it's not always, but he's recently been a thorn in my side, right? I've been sending up them curses, for a while, right? And then basically, long story short, the Lord, moved him out of the way, right? So he was no longer, a hindrance to me, right? And technically speaking, got demoted. He still has has a very lofty title, but got demoted. But more importantly, I don't have to deal with him in the same capacity, at the job, right? That's what it is, right? Our prayers work, right? And sometimes we need to also remember that the Lord always listens. Not sometimes, but we always need to remember that the Lord listens to our prayers. It's just that sometimes, the answer, that we get ain't necessarily the answer that we want, right? But that doesn't mean the Lord hasn't heard everything in its due time, right? Everything in its due season. Right? So I'm just gonna grab a few precepts, right? And we'll close it out. It's it's one of them ones where can go quite long with this, because you've got several accounts, right, in the precepts, right, in the precepts about the times when the Lord has helped his men out, right, and I always get this one ordered wrong, right. So okay, so final attempt then, right? It's Romans 15:4, right? For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope, right? So the scriptures that are written, right? The times when the Lord delivered his men, from different different calamities, different situations, different experiences, they're written for our learning and for our comfort, right? And in fact, I'll get this same account in Sirach 2:10, right? Look at the generations of old and see, did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded, or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken, or whom did he ever despise that called upon him, right? And that's it. The Lord, always, came through, always comes through, right? And always will come through, right? For the elect, right? And ultimately, all Israel, right? But the Lord has always answered, always hears and always answers, the prayer of his men, the prayer of his elect, right? Ooh, let me see. Oh no, that's not. I'm getting two precepts mixed up, right? But yeah, let's grab some precepts. Right, First Thessalonians 5:17. Pray without ceasing, right? And that's it. Right, pray without ceasing, right? And when we do things, when we're going places, when we're driving, whatever it is, right? We have to pray, right? I pray that especially in this world, right, we have to pray that the Lord protects us from these, these demons out here, man. Right, because Scripture says that we wrestle not against flesh and blood. And I'll grab that real quick. It's Ephesians 6:10. Right, it says, for we finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, right, in the power of his might. And that's it, right? Believing and understanding that the Most High will come and fight for our every, for our every need, right? Once again, we can't neglect the fact that, sometimes, the Lord hearing our prayers, it may not answer at the time, nor would you call it, or rather, answers, but sometimes that answer is not yet. Sometimes that answer is you got to go through this. Now, sometimes that answer is no, right? Just straight up no, right? And sometimes it's yes, whatever it is, but the Most High hears, right? Says, so finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of His might. So basically, have faith in the Lord, right? Put on the whole armor of the Most High, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil, right? And part of that is these, is praying, right? We have to pray. So for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, right? And that's it. This devil, he's got, he's pushing out these enchantments, right? Whether it be on the media or whatever, what have you, right? But there's a whole load of spiritual wickedness in this world, right? And these people have demons on them, right? He be opening up these people to these demons, right? Which ultimates the Lord that gives a man up unto demons or whatever, what have you, right? But it says, verse 13, wherefore take unto you the whole arm of the Most High, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to stand, right? And that's why one of the reasons why it's important to pray, right? Because in these instances, once again, where you get that yes, right? For example, right, you can really look back at that account and be like, yo, hey, the Lord came through for me then, right? And then in that time, right, when the days truly are evil, right, we'll be able to look back and be like, yeah, but you know what, the times when I asked the Lord for X, Y, and Z, right, the Lord came through, gave me the answer that I needed, right? Once again, right, can't, just to really hammer on that point, right? That answer that we need, right? Just because we can't forget that, we can't neglect, rather, right, that sometimes the answer that we need ain't necessarily the answer that we want, the answer that we pray for, right? But the Lord has heard it, right? And everything that we go through for our bettering, right? For whatever thing it is that we have to go through, right? And that's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? As the age-old saying goes. This is Psalm 6:9. Yahweh hath heard my supplication; the Lord will receive my prayer, right? And we have to have faith in that, right? That the Lord hears and that He will hear, right? And He has heard, right? And then we can also think back on these things as well, right? For our growth and betterment, right? This is Psalms 34:17. It says, the righteous cry, and Yahweh heareth and delivereth them out of all their troubles, right? And once again, that's it. This is Philippians 4:6. It says, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto the Most High, right? So we constantly have to pray, constantly have to ask, right? And then one of the priests have at the end, right, is we always have to give thanks, right? Regardless of what it is, right? We always have to give thanks to the Lord, right? Because I've caught myself asking for something, the Lord, giving, responding, and then forgetting to give thanks. No, we can't forget to give thanks, right? We have to always give thanks, right? For everything, right? For everything that's been given to us, for everything that's been taken away from us, right? For everything, every good time, and for every bad time, right? So Romans 8:26, right? Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities, right? For we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered, right? So there are times when, we're going through something, whatever, what have you, but the Spirit, our spirits are actually praying, to the Most High, quote unquote. Right, our spirits are making intercessions, right? Our spirit groans unto the Most High, right? Because we live in a wicked and horrible world, right? Scriptures, for instance, talk about how Lot, he was vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked, Right, he said his spirit was vexed. Right, so just deep in the spirit, it was always, fuck this place, all of this, right? But and in this world we do the same thing. But what in that statement, what are we really saying? We're saying, Lord, but because destroy this place, right? Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushai, hasteneth the day of destruction, right? So that we can move to a kingdom wherein dwelleth righteousness, right? So our spirit, right, be also praying, on our behalves, right? But this is it, on the point that actually sometimes we just have to go through something, right? This is 2 Corinthians 12:7. It says, "And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelations, there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. For this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. And he said unto me, My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, I will rather glory in my infirmities, that the power of Mashiach may rest upon me." Right? And that's it, man. You see people in this world, right, which really and truly they're going through shit, but they're just in that la land, right? They don't really understand. Or but you'll see people who quote unquote everything's just blessed for them, everything just appears to be blessed for them, right? But then you contrast our lives, right, where things don't go right, where a woman does leave you, where you may lose your job, right, and all of that sort of stuff, right? But guess what? Who's in the better state? Us, because we have the real riches, we have the real woman, okay, which are these scriptures, right? Which is Sophia, right? Which Sophia is what you call it, that wisdom, okay. So what Paul is saying here is like, hey, this thing, it was a thorn in my side. It was, made me feel away, whatever, what have you. It was annoying, right? I besought the Lord. I prayed, I prayed thrice, right, 3 times, right. But actually, it was needful that I be left in this position, right. And sometimes that's just what it is, right. Sometimes it's needful that we're left in particular positions for whatever reason, right? For whatever reason. Hey, for instance, right now I'm thinking about the was it John the 9th chapter, right, where what you call it, you had the blind man, right, from birth, and the only reason he had been blind was so that the Lord Yahushai could heal him, right, and for that account to be written, right, because for instance I believe also in John, right, at the end, right, it says there were so many things that Yahushai did that not everything was written, right. So the fact that that whole experience even happened and then was written, right, there is power and weight behind that. And the last precept, right, as promised, right, says this, Ephesians 1:16, "Cease not to give thanks for you." Oh wait, so like that's not the one I wanted. But yeah, well, the point, I think actually was also in here. Let me grab this one. So like 1 Thessalonians 5:18, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of the Most High in Yahushua Mashiach concerning you." Right, so that's it. So pray without ceasing, right, and in everything give thanks, right. For all the things that we have, all the things that we go through, right, all the things that we have had taken away from us, all the things that, everything, right. That's what it says. In everything give thanks, right. So as always, Lord, with us edify. Until the next time I say, Shalom.